Discovered my parents, gifted my sister $50K for her dream home, after claiming they were too broke for my tuition, so I cut all family ties. Hey Reddit, before we dive in, just a quick note. We're working super hard to bring you the best stories out there. So hit that subscribe button and help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers soon. Let's start the story. I'm 26 years old, living in Portland, and I never thought I'd be the one to walk away from my family. But that's exactly what happened when I discovered the depths of favoritism that had been quietly shaping our lives for years. Growing up in the suburbs of Portland, our family seemed normal enough. My father worked steadily in construction management, my mother taught part-time and picked up tutoring gigs when finances got tight. I always pitched in too, working weekends at a local bookstore through high school, saving every penny I could for college. My younger sister, however, was cut from a different cloth entirely. She avoided responsibility like it was contagious. While I worked and studied, she lounged around our modest home, complaining loudly if asked to help with chores or family obligations. There was always some social event or vague commitment that prevented her from contributing. My parents rarely pushed her, which I chalked up to typical sibling dynamics. The youngest sometimes gets away with more. I never imagined how extreme this favoritism would become. When it came time for me to attend university, I sat down with my parents at our scratched kitchen table to discuss finances. Despite my partial scholarship and savings, tuition at Oregon State would still leave me with a significant shortfall. I hoped they might help bridge that gap, or at least co-sign for more favorable loan terms. The conversation is still seared into my memory. My father's face darkened as he explained they simply couldn't afford to help. "The economy's hit us hard," he said, arms crossed tightly against his chest. My mother nodded along, eyes downcast, adding that they'd drained their savings just keeping the household afloat. They seemed genuinely pained but resolute. There was no money to spare for my education. Disappointed but understanding, I accepted their explanation. I doubled my work hours, applied for every scholarship I could find, and took out substantial loans. My schedule became brutal. Studying until dawn, working evenings at a cafe, barely sleeping. When I'd call home, exhausted, my father would remind me, "This struggle will make your degree mean something." The comment stung, but I pushed forward. Meanwhile, my sister drifted aimlessly after high school, working sporadically at retail jobs before quitting whenever the work became too stressful. She moved back home where my parents covered her expenses while she figured things out. I swallowed my frustration and focused on my own path. By junior year, I was deeply in debt, but maintaining solid grades. My parents occasionally invited me home for dinner, always reminding me how proud they were of my independence, how they wished circumstances were different. I believed them completely. Then came the Instagram post that changed everything. It was a cold January morning when I scrolled through my feed to see my sister posing in front of a modern townhouse in the trendy Pearl District, keys dangling from her fingers. The caption read, "New homeowner. Eternally grateful to Mom and Dad for the $50,000 down payment that made this dream possible. Blessed, sure family support." The room seemed to tilt around me. $50,000? The same parents who couldn't spare a dime for my education had somehow found $50,000 to give my sister for a house? My fingers trembled as I typed a text to my father, demanding an explanation. His response was infuriatingly evasive. Something about a recent financial windfall, and how my sister needed stability to get her life on track. When I pressed further, he suggested my education was different. It was money into the void, while a house was a tangible investment. My mother wasn't any better, offering weak justifications about how my sister lacked my natural discipline and needed extra support. "You've always been so capable," she texted, as if my self-sufficiency justified their abandonment. The subtext was clear. Because I'd proven I could survive on my own, I deserved less family support. The betrayal cut deep. While I'd been skipping meals to afford textbooks and working myself to exhaustion, they had been saving tens of thousands of dollars, not for both their children, but exclusively for my sister. The financial hardship they'd claimed was selective, applied only to my dreams and needs. My sister's response when confronted was equally infuriating. "Don't be jealous," she texted. "I needed it more than you. You're strong enough to handle your own problems." Her social media continued to flaunt her new home, sharing renovation plans and furniture purchases while I worked double shifts to make my loan payments. After weeks of futile conversations where my parents defended their decision with increasingly thin rationales, I realized nothing would change. There would be no apology, no acknowledgement of the inequity, no offer to help ease my financial burden. Instead, they expected me to simply accept their favoritism as reasonable and fair. The breaking point came unexpectedly. My sister discovered structural issues with her new house, requiring substantial repairs. Not only did she have the audacity to call and ask if I could lend her money, but she seemed genuinely surprised when I refused. "You have a job, right?" she asked, as if my hard-earned salary should naturally flow toward fixing her problems. When I declined, she painted me as the villain to extended family, claiming I was abandoning her out of jealousy. Some relatives believed her, reaching out to ask why I wouldn't help my struggling sister. The hypocrisy was staggering. In early June, I made my decision. I declined my parents' invitation to a family gathering in Eugene and sent them a final message. "I can't maintain a relationship where I'm treated as a second-class family member. You had money for her house but none for my education. You've chosen your favorite child clearly. Don't contact me unless you're ready to acknowledge and address this inequality." The following weeks brought angry voicemails from my father, guilt-laden texts from my mother, and social media rants from my sister about my selfishness. I blocked them all and focused on rebuilding my life without their manipulative presence. I moved to Seattle for a better job opportunity, telling no one in my family where I was going. The distance helped heal some wounds. Without their constant gaslighting, I found clarity and confidence. The student loans remained a burden, but each payment felt like a badge of honor, proof of my resilience despite their betrayal. Through mutual connections, I heard my sister's house problems had worsened. The repairs cost far more than expected, and she was floundering financially. My parents had apparently helped initially but claimed they couldn't provide more assistance. The golden child was struggling without her safety net, while I continued to build my independence. 6 months later, they made one last attempt at reconciliation, a letter filled with vague regrets, but no concrete acknowledgement of their favoritism or offers to help equalize the financial disparity they'd created. It was too little, too late. I never responded. Sometimes I wonder if they understand what they lost. Their actions didn't just cost them a relationship with their son. They also crippled their daughter by reinforcing her entitlement and dependency. While I've learned self-reliance and financial discipline, she remains trapped in patterns of expectation and disappointment. 3 years have passed since that Instagram post revealed the truth about my family's dynamics. The initial rage has faded to a dull ache that occasionally flares when family holidays approach or when friends discuss their supportive parents. But I don't regret my decision to walk away. Some betrayals cut too deep for reconciliation, especially when the other party refuses to acknowledge the wound they've inflicted. Today, I'm nearly debt-free, with a promising career and genuine friendships built on mutual respect rather than obligation. My sister, I hear, has been forced to rent out rooms in her house to cover the mortgage payments. My parents continue to enable her whenever possible, though their resources have apparently dwindled. It's a sad ending to what could have been a close-knit family, but there's also justice in seeing how their favoritism ultimately failed everyone involved, including their golden child. As for me, I've learned that sometimes standing alone is better than being part of a family that values you less than others.